Show on JTV, and it's time for our first of many chamber connections. And from the Jackson Chamber of Commerce, we have Pat O'Dowd and we have Mollie Bolton with us from Edward Jones Financial Services. And Mollie, it's great to have you here. I'm used to seeing you at chamber events and other events around the community, and we haven't had much of that lately. How have you been doing the last few months?
Doing pretty well. As an essential business, I've been able to go to work every day and actually go in my office, which huge blessing because it breaks up being at home all the time. I can work from home, but really grateful that my branch office administrator and I get to be at work every day. So doing okay.
Good stuff, Mollie. Tell me a little bit about your business and maybe some of the main reasons somebody, especially right now during this pandemic and going forward, obviously finances are going to be a big concern for people. What are some of the reasons that someone might want to give you a call right now?
Okay. Well, I think especially right now, there's going to be a lot of job displacement. People will be laid off, unfortunately, but good decisions can be made from this too, because you're going to have retirement savings, and probably even more now, we need to look at that, take a look at it and see what is the goal for this money, what makes sense to do right now, because there are some CARES Act things that will allow you to take distributions penalty free right now too. So have to look at the goals and just see what makes sense. But there's a lot of reasons to call us, not just for job displacement. Sometimes people call because they've been through a divorce and they have a settlement, or they've been through an accident and they have a settlement, so they come upon cash. Inheritance is a big reason to call. Somebody comes into some wealth that they don't know what to do with. They didn't ever plan for that. Excess cash and savings. People tend to hoard a lot of money at the bank that's not working for them. We have money market and CDs and things just like the bank, but we also have obviously a wide range of investment options.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what other types of services that you offer maybe aren't as well known? And most people know financial advisors, the basics of what they should be calling for, but what are some of the other services you offer that might help people?
Okay. One of the most uncommon things is that we do life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance. People will, oh, you do that? When we start talking about those type of things. Again, the CDs and the money market kind of thing, we do a lot of bank-like services that people don't realize we have competitive rates for. Stock certificates, that's another one. People just have those in their safe somewhere that their grandpa gave to them, and they don't realize they can actually hold them in an Edward Jones account. It's much safer electronically than out in paper form. And then a review of their financial situation at absolutely no cost.
Mollie, what are some common myths about meeting with a financial advisor or investing? People, can flip on CNBC or Mad Money, and it's just so overwhelming. What are some common myths that people are thinking about?
I think the first one is that you have to be wealthy to talk to a financial advisor. Nope. You come to financial to help you build wealth. So there is no minimum to come talk to a financial advisor. It doesn't cost anything to come in and talk to a financial advisor. There's a cost to investing money, and that varies depending on what you invest in, but the conversation is absolutely no cost. The second thing is that it's super expensive to have a financial advisor. Also not true. I have clients that pay less than 0.2%. It depends on the investment, it depends on what they choose to do, but also not expensive and can be super helpful. The other thing is that you should diversify with lots of financial institutions. Although this isn't necessarily a problem, it is important to let a financial advisor, one that you sincerely trust, see your whole picture, because that helps them make good decisions for you. If they don't know how to advise you because they don't know everything you have, that's just a detriment to you. So.
How do you build up that trust? You mentioned trust. I would assume that's probably, I know for me, if I was making a decision with who to trust with my money, do you offer phone consultations? Do you have, especially right now, do you have appointments available, or what ways do you learn about your potential customers and build that trust?
So, the building the trust thing, I don't think I consciously think about this, but I am always aware to say to somebody, especially when they're interviewing brokers, or which is not a bad thing to do, by the way. I say, you need to use your gut instinct here, because this is your money, and you need to work with somebody you feel like you can trust and be open with. But yes, especially right now, we offer what's called WebEx. So they can actually see my face, I can see their face, they can see documents. I'll tell you, that was a little bit of a learning curve for me. I'm a very face-to-face person, and so I hadn't used a whole lot of it. I'm using it a whole lot now. So until this settles down, that's where we're at. But it's absolutely possible to do business that way. So
Probably a good investing tip right there, maybe WebEx or Zoom. Are they just doing? They got to be doing great.
That's a good question.
Isn't it
Mostly,
free?
most of the conversation has been oil stocks lately, but yeah, Clorox or Purell, all of those kind of companies. So
Yeah.
Mollie, talk a little bit about being downtown. We have a photo of you outside of your building and with the bright walls. Just talk about being downtown and kind of what you've gotten out of that.
Okay. So our office was not always downtown. 11 years we've been down through lots of construction. Felt like endless construction where you couldn't drive down the road and it was a dust pool. We love it downtown. I feel like we're on the best corner. Obviously, you guys are our neighbors. Everything's within walking distance. It just feels like the heart of Jackson. With the Bright Walls Festival, gosh, we got so fortunate that William Deary decided to let our building be part of that. We feel like we have one of the prettiest buildings downtown with that mural, and we just put up new signage on the corner, and yeah, we couldn't be happier, honestly. And if you've never seen the inside of the building, it's a historic building. We have brick walls and tin ceilings and chandeliers. It's very pretty. So.
And what's this photo we're looking at? This is old
That's
school.
an old one.
Is that the
That's our building there.
Yeah.
It says Chop Suey on it because it was very well known for being the Fairy Gardens. And we have a picture of the Fairy Gardens in our office because everyone who comes in that's been in Jackson very long says, oh, I remember when this was Fairy Gardens, and we have a conversation about it. So.
Yeah, it's awesome being downtown. Drive by there, take a right. I know you do too, and see that every single day.
We're all neighbors.
The three of us are neighbors.
Yes.
Yeah. It's certainly fun to be downtown and see all of the construction. I was driving in and the new Albert Kahn apartments that are coming up, and that's got to be good for you being downtown 11 years and to see the investment that the city and the growth. Just the connections you'll be able to make.
Yeah, the restaurants, people actually living downtown, all the little coffee shops. I'm super proud to be downtown.
Yeah, we're all excited for that to get back to how it was. That was for sure. Mollie, what ways has this pandemic really affected your business? Kind of, obviously you've talked about the face-to-face meetings, but kind of overall.
Well, some legislation has gone into effect actually because of the pandemic. The CARES Act went into effect just in January, which allows people to take money out penalty-free from qualified accounts. Usually that would be a 10% penalty. They still pay the taxes, but they can actually spread it out over 3 years. And that's an accountant thing. They're going to have to deal with that as we're going forward. Required minimum distributions. People can waive those for this year if they don't need the money, so that it actually helps their accounts recover better. So those two things specifically, legislation-wise, have affected us. And then, of course, I'm usually out in the community, probably 40% of the time, and I feel a little trapped right now. Although I have a beautiful office to be trapped in, but I can't wait to just being here is nice. So
Yeah,
getting out.
It is. It's nice to have a.
It's a simple pleasure.
Normal conversation.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about your involvement with the chamber specifically. Sure. You've been an ambassador for
21 years.
21 years. I mean, that's just amazing. Talk about how you really first got involved, and then obviously you've seen a large benefit. Why you've stayed so involved over the last 21 years?
I would not be doing the job I'm in if I had not been an ambassador. That's how I got into this job. I worked for Jackson Magazine 21 years ago, and they kind of pushed me and said, this would be a great spot for you to get to know people, because I was a sales rep for them. I I didn't know what I was getting into. In fact, I really didn't want to do it. I didn't know anybody on the committee. Here I am 21 years later. Every job that I only had 2 jobs after that, had been, and after that I said, you have to be a chamber member because I'm not giving this up. Just the connections I think that I have created, friendships and connections, and again, there was a chamber member, she's actually on one of the boards now, who recommended me to be for a job in the financial industry, and that's why I'm here today. So I owe a lot to that little group. So.
I know I speak for the entire staff and the board of directors when we say how thankful we are for your service. I mean, 21 years, that's amazing. You're an ambassador, and now you're on the board of directors, and
Yes.
Certainly a strong advocate of the chamber, and you mentioned the connections. And
Yep.
you know, that's really what we're all about, is trying to make sure that members are connected to the community and connected to other members and their potential customers. And
Yep.
21 years, that says a lot about it. If
I
it
agree.
wasn't working,
It
the
works
cham-
if you're involved.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, you both for being here. Molly, thank you, thank you very much. Pat, we appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing you both again out in the community real soon.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Thank
sir.
you very much. Nice to celebrate with you both. We'll be right back to wrap up the morning show. That was the Chamber Connection.